So with that, Neil, what I'd like you to do is come up here. We'll turn to the public comment section as a preference or guidance to that. Those of you who have either signed up or who will sign up and want to testify, I would ask direct your comments to Neil. The task force has now completed its work that has been handed to Neil. Tell Neil what you agree with. Tell Neil what you disagree with. Tell Neil if there are things the task force should have addressed and didn't, why you think those are important. Or tell Neil anything else that is on your mind that furthers the objective of safety and service excellence. Darla, can we start with you, please?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say after I read last night, I feel sorry for the task force, and I'll tell you why. I've been doing this for 7.5 years, and Neil and TriMet have put you in a bad position. Tom, you've worked for TriMet. You were the GM. What years did you work?
1991 to 1998.
During that time, you had problems, right?
Always.
Okay. What changed with what you turned over? What's different with what you turned over? Do you think that what the task force put together to play is totally different than what was in place when you were there?
Yes.
Okay.
Unmistakably, Darla. Unmistakably.
So I'm going with the safety part of it. Since I've worked with this for so long, I just want to tell you, they've had all these rules as far as the safety goes from the National Transportation Council for a long time. They have the packets, they've had the safety. So a lot of what you've put into play has been there. Then, 1999, they did a study. They said, let's do this study. Tell us what we did wrong. We'll change it. You know what? They told them just like you did today. Did it change? It didn't change. They did polls back then. Polls like you're saying. You must do polls of the drivers. They did the polls. They told them where their safety was wrong. They didn't make the changes. TriMet. I passed a law in 2007 because in 1999 they told them to make those changes. So I pass it because my son dies. Well, TriMet does a law. They think they've finished it, but they only do part of it. What they do is they go back and they change the crosswalks. But what they neglected to do, which is on their own paperwork, is it's twofold. It's the design, but it's also the safety program. So even with the law that I passed on doing the study, they only did half of it. The statistics. They have the statistics. You know you have the statistics. They know how it goes. They know they hit 1 a week. And really, I'm coming from the light rail side. Dave's coming from the bus side. So my statistics fall light rail 1 a week. And I can see as they give out different information. So, and I showed you before, 504 1 week, 505 the next week. You know what? Who is holding them accountable? Are all of you, when you leave today, going to hold them accountable? Nobody's holding Neil accountable. Nobody's holding the board accountable. We've still got a problem. We can talk all we want. You can tell them what you want, but nothing has changed.
What would you like to do? What would you suggest?
You know what needs to happen is the board needs an oversight. You need people to come in from the outside, go inside TriMet, and go in. They don't want anybody in there. And you know why? Because there's a lot of things that been doing for a long time that haven't been right. And a lot of people have been afraid to say things. So they bring Tom. Tom used to work there. They bring you guys here to help set this up. But you know what? It's not going to happen because there's nobody to hold them accountable. I have to go do the 1 out of 4, go to KMJ for the safety, and say, you know what, they say they're all unavoidable. But so I have to throw in, go to Metzger, which I went several times, and we have to put this into play. Because I've been trying to do this for 7.5 years. I've been a constituent. I go in, I talk to them, Metzger talks to them, nothing changes. I want you to see the life I live 7.5 years later. I want to show you something. The day my son died and my son got hit was on light rail property. And because he was on light rail property, they left him lay there for 2 hours. There was an ambulance there. I'm going to hand each one of you this. You can just pass it out. I've sat and I've tried to be professional, and I want you to know how I live, because maybe then you can feel it, and maybe then you'll make sure that down the road these changes happen. My son was hit. They pulled him off to the side. It's light rail property. They're in charge. The police aren't even in charge of them. They judged their own accidents. So they set him off to the side for 2 hours. He was dead to them, but he was my child. And you know what? Why would I want that to happen to other people? So I come back thinking I'm going to make it better, and they've got you fooled. They're not going to make it better. They're not going to make these changes, because there's nobody out there in our area like Metro, JPAC, our senators that are going to follow it through. It's been going on for a long time, and you're caught up in it, and I feel sorry for you, because it's all been written there all along. It was written there when Tom was there. You did help the drivers, I'll tell you that, because you know what? They haven't had a chance to speak out because they're afraid to, and they're still afraid. But you know what? You're not going to get anything solved here today. And you say, it's time, they'll make the changes. It's been over 10 years. Every time they're told, they do not do it. It's a culture. And unless you take the people out from in that culture and make it new, you've got the same thing. And enough is enough. And Dave lives his life. A lady by the name of Debbie, her son was hit I said August 23rd, 23 years old. I spoke with her. She's on her way down here too. You know why? Because she doesn't want other kids to live her life. Her son has 1 foot. He will be disabled the rest of his life. Because why? Because we didn't put into play what we should have as a governing body. So I don't believe that you're going to get anywhere. And I'm actually disgusted because you've made these people think that they are. And I have to look at this. This is a life I live. And I've tried to make it better. And every time I've gone back and I've talked, and Shelley Lomax, she's here, she's safety. Have you heard her talk? At the TriMet Board of Directors meeting. She's not talking, she's one of your head people. So think about that tonight when you go home.
Darla, thank you. David?
Yeah, here we go again. Your last
I just, first of all, I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate your work, paid or not. I don't know how that works with you folks right now.
It's all volunteer.
And, I appreciate you starting the task force because it's something. It's something. And I think it initiates by defining safety. We initiate it by defining it. I disagree with Tom. It's not a value. Because when you think of value, you think of money. It's not a value. It's a moral value. It's a moral obligation. I try and have as much grace as I can with the frustrations I have. So I'm going to do my best. The changes begin with defining safety as a moral value. Beginning with you, going right downhill through your communications department to your drivers, your operators, everybody that has a play in this. The next thing, one of the changes that needs to be made, is we need to understand that TriMet is a fabulous organization when it comes to customer service. I don't know where this meeting or this task force got off skew on that, but I don't think customer service is the issue here. Service of excellence, these guys that offer an awesome service. You can go anywhere you want on a public transit vehicle in this town, virtually, and be accommodated. How does that end up being a lack of service? I don't know. It's not the customers that are having the problem here. It's the general public, it's the innocent bystanders. It's not the people riding the buses, not the people riding the trains. It's the people that are observing it. It's the people that are sharing the road with them. It's the people that are sharing the sidewalks with them and the crosswalks. We all know that the 24th of April was the worst nightmare you guys have seen. We know that. I'm the poster child for it. And I gladly take that position. But let's start making the changes. We need to stop reviewing and start doing. Write that down. Stop reviewing and start doing. Because you reviewed and reviewed and reviewed and reviewed. The whole process you guys have done for the last months is review. Review this, review that. When are we going to do? And I know it's not your job to do. Your job is to recommend what to do. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your professionalism. And I appreciate the list of to-dos. But now we need to do it. And we need to stop talking about it. And I need to quit bitching about it. Put the cameras on the buses. I've got 2 years of complaints from people who have seen bus drivers, vehicle operators, if you will, using their cell phones, reading their books, doing inappropriate behavior while operating a public vehicle on a public road, moving the public around and about. 2 years. Every single day there's a complaint of one operator or numerous operators doing such activities. You know about it. You've seen it. You've got it in your history files. You know. You've known. My list starts in 2008. I can't even imagine when your list starts. What has been done?